In this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and explain 3 easy ways that you can lighten shadows in an image in Photoshop. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the first image here. Turn off this typography. So by itself, it's not necessarily a bad image, but there's still a lot of deep shadows here. And should you need to remove those shadows, there's a couple easy ways to do that. So let me go ahead and show you. All 3 of these are going to be found under the menu image, and then down in the adjustments. Now if you have this where you can't select it, you need to take a look at your layers palette and you make sure that you have the appropriate layer selected. So image, adjustments, and here we go. This first one here, what we're going to do is use our exposure setting. So image, adjustments, and then select exposure. The exposure pop-up comes up here. Now notice they're all 0, 0, and 1. So you can play with the exposure and this can change things dramatically here. But I found that usually it's way too harsh. So I'm going to set that back to 0. Go back in there. The offset has other effects also. It seems to gray and dull, but once again, not really a great effect for what we're trying to achieve. I'm going to set that back to 0. Here under gamma though, this is technique number 1. I find that if you just lighten it up, you can play with the different settings here and check and uncheck the preview. So that's our original image. And there you can see it's significantly brighter and it's just gotten rid of a lot of those harsh shadows for you. So that's technique number 1. Once again, it's under image, adjustments, and then exposure. Let's pull open another image here. So here we've got another image. Same type of thing here. We just need to remove some of the shadows. Definitely an indoor shot, very dark. So let's go back under image, adjustments. And this time we're going to come all the way down here to HDR toning. So that's high density range. You see this used a lot in landscape imagery. Okay, now this does have a flattening effect on the document, so you got to make sure you're okay with that. So I'm going to click yes, and then right away it pops open this screen here. So I'm going to turn this off, and you can see the effect right away. It's brightened it significantly. And you do have a lot of different options here. For example, the highlights seem a little bit too hot there or too saturated. You can do quite a bit of adjustment there just by hitting the defaults in the HDR toning. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that, but notice that it did flatten things out. So I'm going to back up here under edit and step backwards a few times, so Alt Control Z, to get back to my original image there. And the third technique I'm going to show you is this image here. It's once again, it's under image, adjustments, and this time I'm going to come under shadows and highlights. So under shadows and highlights, just by once again the default there, you see it brighten that image up significantly. And you do have a lot of amounts here. This top section is right up here is the actual shadows, so you can actually adjust it significantly there and experiment and find exactly how much you'd like to adjust it. You can turn on the on and off the preview and just keep messing with the settings there. Highlights are affected here. And then we can even shift the colors around from more saturated to less saturated, where your midtones hit. And there are even more options down at the bottom. I'm sorry, I had the more options showing. You can turn that off if you just want some basic, adjustments there. So once again, real simple. All 3 of these can be found under image, adjustments, and you have a lot more other options there. I would encourage you, but the focus of this one is how do you take dark shadows and get rid of them. HDR toning is one, shadows and highlights, or the exposure under the gamma correction. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Be sure to check out all of our videos at 5minutetutorials.com or subscribe to our channel below. Thanks for watching.